Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel English Literature. We have discussed about American literature in general, the early pamphleteers and the other writers, the poets. And now we'll draw a conclusion by arranging a general suggestion, a general look at the features of those early writings and literature. So, in this video, we are going to discuss the features of 1700s literature and history. In every nation, literature was a direct or indirect fruit of history, obviously. The difference in climate, geopolitical map, and existential struggle define and shape the literature of the nation. We have discussed this point earlier, that the early pamphleteers and their writings, they mainly consist of their struggle, their first encounter with this new land and the aboriginal people, and how they cope with the new environment and atmosphere. So all this became the theme of their writing, and that shaped the literature. So history and literature go hand in hand. No virgin country. It was already populated with native European African people. A huge variety of languages, social customs, and creative expressions are predominant there, and it added and supplemented new literary trends. Sermons, pamphlets, captive narratives, journals, religious verses, and psalms dominated the literary field as the early settlers were religious sects, the Puritans. We have discussed the captive narratives. The people, the settlers who were captivated by, who were imprisoned by the aboriginal peoples and tribes, they wrote their experience about their captivation, the period of captivation, their torture, their sufferings, and their faith for the God. And those Puritan beliefs, all those were the predominant feature of early writings. Exploration. In Columbus's letter, we find this exploration, this glorification of exploration. Exploration of the new country ultimately led to colonization. European countries started vying against each other for the riches of Western countries, and this rivalry became the subject of early pamphleteers. Explorers wrote about their voyages, their difficulties they faced in the new world to cope with and about the aboriginals. They also wrote about the aboriginal custom, the lifestyle of the aboriginals, and how they behaved and what they did and did not do. All these things get the scope in their writing. Their travelogues and chronicles of class and conflict become valuable sources for the later writers. The literature was shaped according to the mindset of the settlers. Yeah, of course, it was obvious because literature was totally shaped according to the mindset of the settlers who came there and faced different issues while setting their beliefs and their religious beliefs, and all these things overshadowed their pens. Actually, in which respect English literature differs from American literature. The people who came in America were from they were English born people, but their literature is called American literature because their literature was shaped by or influenced or navigated by their process of settlement, their class and conflict with the native people, and their continuous trial to cope with a new environment, new people, and new lifestyle. So their literature has not those features that were predominant in that time in England. In this respect, their literature is different from the English literature. And American literature is far more novice than the English literature, because American literature started with the settlement of the people who came from England and from other European countries also. Now, the literature of the colonialist was mainly pamphlets, the early literature. We are talking about 1700s literature, not that revolution or after revolution literature. that justifies their actions and attitude towards the native population. They showed the permission and approbation of the home, England. Yeah, that is the point. Even in the literature, there is the continuous trial or the attempt to draw focus from their homeland, England, that we are doing this and we are doing that for this reason. For they are continuously trying to justify their attitudes towards the native people, and whatever action they are taking in the new land, they were continuously trying to judge and justify themselves in their writing. Perhaps they want the support of their homeland. Not perhaps, it is obvious. Now, the Puritans who settled in New England had a different motive than the others who settled later. So, the early settlers or the Puritans and the Pilgrim Fathers, they had some different motive and than the later settlers. The earlier people, they were totally religious people, and they came in that new land to escape the persecution of the Catholics and royal rage. So they planned to flourish their religious beliefs and ideologies and to demand more attention and demand their superiority in the new land that they were not getting in England. Now the first settlers, they immigrated for religious purposes, while the later immigration was based on an economical plan. But gradually that religious plan was surpassed or replaced by economical plan, because when there started agricultural flourishment and plantation, tobacco plantation, slavery, and with this there is the taxation, and also England started getting benefited from the flourishment of economical growth of the new land. So economical growth and the trading interest get more priority in later half of the settlement. With the arrival of different European nations, different cultures and languages meet. It is not a melting pot, but a pure mosaic where everything has its own separate identity and innovativeness. It is not that everything came and get mixed in one point, but it's like it is not like a melting pot, but it is like a mosaic where everything has their own different identities. Though different languages took hold of America, ultimately English language dominated the literary arena, and it is it well. The early American literature of the 1700s reflects the religious mission and cultural conflicts of colonial life. American literature is more or less connected with French, Spanish, and Dutch literature, because not only English but all the seacoast countries, seacoast Indo-European countries took part in the exploration and also in the settlement. At the very beginning, the writing and literature of England. At the very beginning, the writing and literature of England. Later, gradually, the author started exploring new styles. Yeah, at the very beginning, the writing and literature was direct influenced by England. But later, gradually, the author started exploring new styles and identities of their own. Was of England and from England. They just imitate the style that is already common to them. But gradually, they started their own new style of writing. So these are the general features of 1700s American literature. Okay, thank you.